All right. But before I do that, I'm going to roll my chair back a little bit again. I might even have to stand up a little bit. You see it. Men 2 Sports Management. Shirt of the day, courtesy of Shawana M. Jordan, good friend of mine from the Shy. Also owner of Ladies First Sports Agency. So you can go check her out, ladiesfirstsportsagency.com. Tell them SportsRap sent you. You can get you a shirt and you can have another shirt. Also the IPWBL, Independent Professional Women's Basketball League. You can check them out there. And just go check her out, like I said, folks, and tell her that Sports Rap sent you. She'll hook you up and get you some gear. And if you are an athlete, you can talk to her about representation. All right? I know some people, so get in touch with her. If you can't get in touch with her, if you don't want to directly get in touch with her, get in touch with me, and I can plug you in. Now, today's starts NBA playoffs from the bubble. And there are weird times, as you know, there have been weird times all along because they're in the bubble and the way things are going. So, first game up today, Utah versus Denver, 1:30 on ESPN. ESPN has all of the games today. Then at 4, you got Brooklyn at Toronto. At 6:30, you got the Sixers and the Celtics. And then closing out tonight, you got Dallas and the Clippers. So, I'm going to get to the Sixers and the Celtics. But I'm going to go through these the way that they're here, just in not in any specific order, just what I'm reading off of my notes and some things that are going on. So this series, I definitely wanted to talk about. I am very, very intrigued. Like I said, I'm a Sixers fan. You see, I got my Sixers hat on, so I'm playoff ready. So I'm excited to see what happens with them without Ben Simmons and see how they work against Boston. Although I do still like our chances against Boston. It's just my opinion. I'll go into a little bit more detail when we get to that series, if you will. Now, the series that I'm going to talk about first and foremost, all right, is this Lakers Portland series. Lakers fans, Frank is one of them. I know some others. The last couple games you played in the bubble in the 8-game seeding situation, not your best output, not your best performances. You are playing or about to play. And let me see, they start tomorrow. So they're the final game tomorrow on Tuesday's schedule. And I'll give you Tuesday's schedule before I close out today. Lakers, you are about to do battle with an extremely hungry team with a dynamic backcourt with one particular player who has a couple chips on his shoulder, has some things to prove in his own right, in his book, has some things to prove. So, speaking of Dame, and we all know what he did in those last few games, in these 8 seeding games, to get them into the playoffs. Then they had the play-in game, and we saw how that game went the other day. That team is tough, and they're hungry. Okay, so the Lakers, not saying you can't win that series, but I'm just letting you know you are in a dogfight. Okay, a dogfight. And the way that Portland is playing right now, if that carries over, we could be seeing an upset, an 8-1 upset in the first round. And I'm sure that what I just said really got under the skin of some Lakers fans. So if you're tuned in, chime in and tell me how you feel. Don't be scared. Tell me how you feel. Okay? But student of the game, and like I said, when the Lakers got all of those players that they signed, and some of them did not go to the bubble with them. You got Rondo, who's just returning from injury. And I mentioned to Frank when he was here, when we talked about that roster being made up the way it was, you got to find minutes. how are you going to find minutes for all these guys? Okay. So, again, Lakers, Mark Brown, thanks for tuning in. You are getting ready to have a first round battle that you never would have expected. Okay. So, I hope you come prepared. I hope you bring your A plus game because Portland is bringing their A plus plus game. And people were counting them out. They had to go through a playing game. So again, like I said, Dame has a couple chips on his shoulder. I think Melo might even have a little chip on his shoulder because people counted him out. Okay, so we will see how this series plays out. Um, a lot of people right now, since the playoff matchups have been coming out or have come out, have predictions of either Toronto and the Clippers or Milwaukee and the Clippers in the finals. We will see how that plays out. I'll talk a little bit about Milwaukee when I get to that series. So moving on, you've got the Clippers and the Mavericks. I think the Clippers can handle this. I think it's going to probably go 6 games because Dallas has some dynamic players of their own. And Dallas is not a team that's just going to lay down and die. They're going to fight to the finish. So I still like the Clippers in that series, but it's not going. Again, it's not going to be an easy one. Okay, I don't think any of these series right now are going to be fairly easy at all. But we're sticking with the West right now, and it's Clippers Dallas series. It's going to be another one that's going to be good to watch. Um, I don't know if it's going to go 7. I'm going to give it 6. I'm going to say Clippers in 6. Okay. And surprisingly, just to backtrack a little bit, I'm going to stretch and go on a limb here and go with Lakers Portland. I'm going to go Portland in 7. Believe it or not, it's just how I feel. Okay. And I'm sure I made some Lakers fans upset. But again, like I said, you know where to find me. You can comment, you can talk to me, and we can talk, we can debate, whatever. I just feel like from what I've seen from both of those teams, the tail end of these 8 seeding games, I'm liking the Blazers in 7. All right, then I'm liking the Clippers in 6 against Dallas. Moving on, we got Denver at Utah. So as I reported to you earlier, Utah just lost Mike Conley for the birth of his son. So we know how that situation is going to play out. Like I said, the NBA has been very cautious and very mindful of these types of situations. If he comes back while they're in the playoffs still, when he comes back, he's got quarantined for a few days before he can be cleared to play. He's going to have to get tested and then get cleared to play. So there is a possibility that he could miss 2-3 games in this series. Who knows what it'll be by that point without him playing for Utah. So if he comes back, he could make it interesting. But also on the other side, you've got some players for Denver that might be returning. Okay? That could help them. Also now you have the emergence of Michael Porter Jr., whom a lot of teams, including the Sixers, didn't want to take the risk on because of his back injury. Again, kudos to him for doing his due diligence and betting on himself and working. And now his last few games in the bubble have put him into the starting lineup, and the coach there has said that he's going to stay there because of his play. So that just tells you the work ethic. My sister, I know you was going to tune in. You saw I just gave you your shout out. I told people thanks for tuning in as always. I'm wearing the shirt. You can see it. I'm going to back up again for you to see it. Yes, good day to you, family. You see it. You tuned in. I got it on. I'm playoff ready. I got my Sixers hat on, so we gonna see what happens with them against Boston. Like I said, I still like our chances against Boston. All right, so this Denver-Utah series, surprisingly, I'm gonna go with Denver in 6. Okay, I just think that's how it's going to play out. All right, and I'm gonna mark these down again. I'm just doing it backpacking, so I remember what I picked and who I picked. Okay, so nobody can tell me that I didn't pick it. All right, so now Oklahoma City at Houston. Uh, Houston does not impress me. Sixers blew them out. But this one, right off the bat, I'm going Thunder in 6, possibly 7, because of the fact that Houston shoots so many threes, so many threes, and ironically, if you know anything about basketball, long shots give you long rebounds, and the guard play I think is a little bit better on the side with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure because I just said that there's going to be some younger folk that think I'm crazy when I said that because they've got James Harden and Russell Westbrook. No disrespect to either one of them, okay? James Harden, the beard is who he is. Russie is a beast. He's a problem. But as far as being able to coast through, if you will, and then take charge late in games, I kind of give that more to Chris Paul as the traditional point guard, as the traditional leader on the court. Just give him a slight edge, okay? And like I said, no disrespect to James Harden or Russie. I mean, I admire both of their games. See, another basketball mind. Shawana says, I would agree. You know them youngsters will be upset. Yes, they will be. But the youngsters have to understand the complete game of basketball. Okay? Two people and the way they shoot threes, they're not going to beat Oklahoma City like that. They're not the Golden State Warriors. Let's just put it bluntly. They're not the Golden State Warriors. Okay? Because because the Thunder has other parts to their game. They have a scoring big in Steven Adams. Okay? They have other positions that players that can shoot the ball. So they can slow them down and wear Houston down by playing half court ball and forcing them to play defense. Okay? Houston's MO is we're going to run, we're going to jack up a bunch of threes, and you're just going to have to try and keep up and outscore us. But what happens when you have to settle in and grind out a good 3-4 minutes of a quarter and play tough defense and solid defense and try to get stops? Takes away from some of your offense. Okay? If you don't understand it, just watch some older basketball, or if you played any basketball, you understand, or ask some coaches if you need to. It takes away from some of your offense when you got to grind it out and play D. All right, so with that series, like I said, I'm going with the Thunder in 6, possibly 7. All right, now we move on to the Eastern Conference. The first series up is Milwaukee at Orlando. Now, initially, I said I didn't think that there would be any easy series, but I went back and looked, and I think this might be. I think I might have seen 2. This might be one of them. Although I'm still not scared. Gord, Froggy, what's going on, my guy? I'm still not scared of the Milwaukee Bucks. They have Giannis, they have Middleton, they have the Bledsoe. But as we have seen, 2 of those guys sometimes tend to fade away a little bit in the playoffs. And I think that they can be beat. I don't think Orlando is the team that can beat them, definitely, because Orlando is just young. Their playoff experience is not as plentiful as Milwaukee's. So I think Milwaukee will win this in 5. I just think, it's just one of those series where Orlando will just get a game just because they might have one of those nights where Milwaukee is just not on fire as you might think. And I think they just might get one just because. Okay, the 3-6 matchup. Philadelphia 76ers, my Philadelphia 76ers versus the Boston Celtics. I know some friends that are Celtics fans, and we've already been chatting back and forth. Chuck EA, my guys that I grew up with, Chris Adams, Money. I love y'all. We homies till the day we die. Brother, friends, we grew up. But I'm telling y'all right now, I still like our chances against y'all. I think we're going to beat y'all in 6. Okay? And again, this may possibly even stretch to 7. And I know Ben Simmons is out. But I think our toughest battle is going to be guarding Orlando. Not going to be sweet. Yes, Frog. I don't think they're going to be sweet. Like I said, I don't think they're going to be sweet. But I just don't think their youth is going to allow them to get more than one game. That's all I'm saying. Getting back to the Sixers Boston series, I think our toughest fight is going to be who will guard Jason Tatum. That's going to be our toughest fight. So I don't know how that plays out, but we're going to have to make a team effort to contain him. And on the other side, I don't think they have anyone that can handle Joel Embiid. But again, it's always up to the coach. The coach is going to have to let Joel dominate the way that he can dominate. And I think having Al Horford, former Celtics player, in the mix, possibly now in the starting lineup due to the injury to Ben Simmons, is going to help a little bit, where he can help the Sixers out with that pick and roll situation, and he can help them read and react a little bit better than they have been on the regular. I'm going to stretch it. I'm going to go Sixers in 7. All right. Indiana, Miami. I like Miami, but I also think that Indiana's going to give them a run. I think ultimately Miami will take that series. I'm going to go Miami in 6. Okay? I'm going to go Miami in 6 with that series. There you have it, folks, your NBA preview. This video will be posted, so if you got any comments after the fact, feel free to comment later. And you can talk to me. Like I said, SportsRap Radio Show is the group page. Instagram and Twitter at SportsRap_D. You know how to get at me. You can send me comments, tell me what you think, and all of that jazz. So again, today's playoffs begin for the NBA. The schedule today, 1:30. All the games today are on ESPN. 1:30, Utah and Denver. 4 p.m., Brooklyn and Toronto. 6:30, Sixers Celtics. 9 p.m., Dallas Mavs versus the LA Clippers. Getting back to, I just read that schedule and I did not mention anything about that series. If there's a series I think that might be easy, I think it's going to be that Brooklyn Toronto series. Because Brooklyn has lost so many pieces and they were struggling down the stretch. And Toronto is just a team that is well coached and it's just gritty on the defensive end. I mean, you got old Bulldog veteran guard and Kyle Lowry. You got the sleek Van Vliet, and then you got the ever emerging Pascal Siakam. And again, they are the defending champs. So I like them with an easy win. I'm going to say 4-1, if not a sweep in that series, because I don't think Brooklyn has enough to compete with them in that series. Okay? After today, tomorrow, the other half of the playoff bracket at 1:30 again. These are the same times. 1:30 again, Orlando and Milwaukee. Tomorrow's games are all on TNT. Orlando at Milwaukee at 1:30. 4 p.m., the Heat and the Pacers. 6:30, OKC against Houston. And at 9 tomorrow, the game that everyone will be watching, me included, 9 p.m., Portland versus the LA Lakers. Folks, that is your playoff preview, NBA playoff preview. We've got tonight's games in the NHL. We got playoffs that continue. You got Tampa Bay versus Columbus, Colorado versus Arizona, Boston versus Carolina, and St. Louis again versus Vancouver. Now, no WNBA games tonight. They resume tomorrow with Indiana and Connecticut, Las Vegas and Chicago, and New York and Seattle. So again, you're getting off the air with me. Get your popcorn, get yourself ready. If you're at work, get your internet up, get your tune up. ESPN. 1:30, NBA playoffs kickoff. Excuse me. Again, Utah versus Denver. And then they'll tell you the rest of the schedule. All games on ESPN today. 1:30, 4, 6:30, and 9. Enjoy your day, folks. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. I will be with you all week, as always, on social media. And again, right back here next Monday on the radio, on air, with a lot more sports news and your recap. There will be some NBA recap. So it's going to be a lot of stuff NBA next week because this is going to be the first week of the playoffs. And we'll have some talking to do. You are or have been tuned in to Sports Rap, Heat 100 Radio. It's your boy D signing out for the week. Again, you know where to find me at SportsRap_D on Instagram and Twitter. Facebook, Sports Rap Radio Show is the group page. The website, sportsrapradio.com. YouTube, Sports Rap TV. Get over there, like some videos. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell so you will know when I post new videos. Kevin Wolf, thanks for tuning in. And finally, iHeart or wherever you get your podcast, you can catch the Sports Rap podcast there as well. It's your boy D signing out. Enjoy your day, folks. Monday, the beginning of the work week. Let's get it. See you next week.